Welcome to you, to your families, your friends, your mentors, and your supervisors. Today is to celebrate you. So I asked the Year Up team to tell me what made them proudest of you, and what follows is a very partial selection of what they said. Like Samantha, 14 of you are parents. Most of you hold second jobs on top of being full-time Year Up interns. One of you was in a bad car accident early in your internship. You were hospitalized and then had to go to physical therapy 3 times a week just after work. You never complained, and Amika has just hired you as a full-time employee. One of you really struggled to even make it through the first part of our program, the L&D phase. Time management was a struggle. You made a commitment to yourself, to your internship partner, worked incredibly hard there, and are now one of the first in your class to earn a full-time job at Blue Cross Blue Shield. One of you had a family member back in the DR who was a victim of a violent crime. You flew there, stayed for a few days, took a red-eye back, went straight to work. You now work for Covidian. And one of you has just lost your grandmother, the woman who raised you. You visit her Christmas Day on Long Island. We're back at work at CVS on the 26th. We know just how proud you've made her. Then I read this email from Peter Van Sciver, and it really hit home, the seeming modesty of it and the big payoff. Peter wrote to me, "My advisory group did not have major earth-shattering wins, although day to day, the little things added up." This is just one example he shared. Miriam received feedback halfway through internship that she needed to be more confident on the phones. She took the feedback, acted on it, and now is hired at Swarovski. So when I think of Miriam's story and the outcome, I know that every single one of you has at least one victory like this one. You committed to everything that Year Up is, and 1 year later, you are either already hired or deeply into the interview process. I'm so proud of Miriam and for all that you have all accomplished. Class 19, you graduate today with an impressive 83% retention rate, and you are already employed, at least as of, I think, 7:30 this morning, at a rate of 53%. So here's what that means. In retention, that places you a close second by less than 1% to our sister site in New York City, and first in Year Up nationally with employment. So why am I talking about those numbers? It's now, I think, an oft-remarked joke that my team and I are competitive and we like to be first. But that's not the only reason I'm sharing them with you. Here's why they matter. They send a message to Rhode Island companies of your talent and Year Up's talent. By demonstrating the tenacity and intelligence it takes to graduate and to get a job, you are paving the road for them. That's class 20. So I thank you. Thank you for working so hard. So as many in this room know, Year Up lost a beloved graduate, Makka Men, in a car accident last Saturday. Tonight will be his wake, and tomorrow morning, his funeral. Makka graduated in July of 2013, completed his internship at Amika on Bob Arnold's team, and was employed as an IT technician for BJ's corporate office. Makka was a leader within our community, and his story of converting a difficult adolescence to a future filled with real possibility is one many in this room know as their own. We at Year Up remain stunned by the news of his death, and we send our loving and deep sympathy to his family and everyone in our community who loved him. Since the news, we've had an outpouring of calls from people who connected to Makka, calls from graduates, a call from Deborah Gist, calls from those who Makka made an indelible impression on. There's a big hole in the fabric where he once was, and we miss him. So in preparing my remarks for today, I went back to my old graduation speeches for guidance. And I'm sure one of my friends here will have a message in this, which you can share with me later. I found last year's where I talked about 4 key principles that guide my work, and now I'm down to 2. I don't know if I'm getting smarter or dumber. We can talk about it offline. Class 19, as you embark on your professional careers, consider how each of these 2 might relate to your own goals and really simply to how you see living your lives. First, and one that comes very naturally to me, be impatient. So you say, what's the rush, Meghan? Why should we be impatient? I want you to be impatient to grow and to develop. I want you to be impatient to earn that first professional job, get that first promotion, earn that associate's degree, earn that BA, buy your first house, send your kids to college. I want you to be impatient to succeed, because that impatience is what will close the opportunity divide. Most of you have heard those words, opportunity divide. They are what we at Year Up use to describe the chasm that separates the talented young adults we serve from the socioeconomic mainstream they so desperately want to join. Here are the 3 reasons we should be impatient. Our country is in crisis. Poverty and extreme poverty are rising. In Rhode Island, 47,000 children live in poverty, and our poverty is concentrated in our cities, claiming 1 in 3 children in Providence, Pawtucket, and Central Falls. So that's poverty defined by the federal government to be an annual income of less than $19,000 for a family of 3. That is the financial reality of the young adults we serve. At 7% unemployment, Rhode Island continues to rank near the top nationally. For young adults of color, we know that that number is at least 4 times that. Here's the second reason to be impatient, to close this opportunity divide. Our companies need workers, and right now, America is not training enough of them. Unless we fix that fast, we will most certainly fall behind the emerging giants in China, India, Brazil, and elsewhere. Here's the final reason to be impatient. Because it's the right thing to do, and our country, while it is not perfect, has a proud history of doing the right thing, and at least some of the time of doing it fast. In Martin Luther King's letter from a Birmingham jail, the piece of writing that guides me like no other, Dr. King talks about the virtue of impatience. In the letter, he talks about the civil rights movement and its impatience for change, its impatience for justice. And he rightly identifies that the energy within impatience is necessary to drive that change. So, Class 19, when there's something really important at stake, push for it. Be impatient to advance. Do what it takes for that to happen. Work harder than anyone else. Stay later. Ask your boss for more work. Go back to school. If you do these things, you will truly be closing this hateful opportunity divide. I think I'll give a minute for folks just to sit, and we'll keep going. We're going to get to my second guiding principle. Right? Aren't you curious what the other 2 were? We can talk about that after. Second guiding principle, say thank you. To do anything really meaningful, we do it together. So it's the quote on Marlin's wall. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. Saying thank you and really meaning it is a powerful emblem of this togetherness. So say thank you to those people in your life who are helping you live a life of meaning and of possibility. Today is my last graduation as Europe's executive director, and I want to say thank you to our founder who's here today, Gerald Tertavian. Thank you, Gerald, for creating Europe, for serving 10,000 young adults around our country, for having a relentless belief in their potential, and for taking a big chance on me. I've learned so much. I've loved every day, even the hard ones. Thank you to every corporate partner who did more, took more interns, hired more alums, gave us more financial support, and provided more mentors and other volunteers than you ever thought would be possible. You know who you are. I see you all. We call you in the 11th hour needing something, and invariably you find a way to say yes. It is this willingness to say yes to clear barriers that is truly changing this state and our country. Thank you to our board for helping us to identify new relationships, to close more seats, to get more of our graduates employed. I have truly never seen one like ours. You roll up your sleeves, mentor our young adults, worry about them, listen to them, celebrate their victories, and tell our story to the most powerful people in this state. Most especially, thank you to my dear friend and board chair, Ted Fisher, who has sat right beside me and our team, who gives so many hours, and who makes sure our young adults get the opportunities they've earned. So one of the deepest learnings, maybe this is the third principle, I've taken from this work, is that in its finest demonstration, we all get to be our best selves. That person that our grandmother always believed we were. Our students get to show what they can do, and the rest of us, this Rhode Island community, we get to grow and nurture them. And I want to thank every single person in this room for that. Thank you to all of our volunteers, our tutors, our mentors, our coaches, and our donors. If you look at that graduation booklet, there are hundreds of names. That's how we get this work done. That's how we get the outcomes we have. You come to our site daily, and you help us do our work better. We know it's a commitment, and we are very, very grateful. Now to the Europe team. My father gave me courage. I knew he had my back. When I was scared, when I didn't think I could succeed, he'd sit me down and break it down into small parts. Though he died 14 years ago, his is still the voice I hear when I need to make a big decision that requires courage. He made me believe I could do anything. Everyone needs that person. For our young adults, sometimes it is a parent or a grandparent, a sibling or a teacher. For some of them, they arrive at our site without that person. And here's what happens. Someone on my team becomes that person. I have lunches every week, a couple times a week, with our students. And I ask at least one question the same every time, and it's this one. If Gerald called me, I actually do this layup. I say, if Gerald called me and said, you have 24 hours, you have to let go of everything in the program, and you get to keep one thing, what's the one thing? And I ask every student the same question. The answer I get more than any other answer is the support. And more than any other example of that support, it's our team. So I'm going to share just two stories to illustrate it. The first I can tell in 3 sentences. I asked that question last week, and one young woman answered, my advisor. I'd keep my advisor. When I had nowhere else to sleep, she offered to have me live in her apartment. Second story is about getting one of our young adults with near perfect points, but one challenging barrier into an internship. Kathy Doyle runs our internships, and I saw firsthand the calls she made and the emails she wrote. She just wouldn't relent until she moved the barrier. As she talked with our student about what was happening, the student said to her, you don't need to put your name down for me. No one else ever has before. And I think it's those words that sealed the deal for Kathy. She didn't sleep until she worked closely with one of our board members who she tracked on various flights around the country until she got that student placed. That student is now about to begin an internship with one of our major partners she spent the last 5 months preparing to do. At Year Up, we consider it the most basic part of what we do. We put our names down for our young people. This is the team we have. You arrive early, teach supplementary classes before much of Rhode Island is out of bed, and you never turn your phones off. Our young adults arrive with a ton of grit of their own, and they see it played out in action every day by the most committed and high-performing team I've ever seen. You inspire me every day, and I thank you. Please stand to be recognized. All right, so I'm at the end now, class 19. When graduation concludes this morning, you will join the 606 alums of Europe, Rhode Island. Congratulations, we are so proud of you. Remember what I've said, be impatient, say thank you. One more thing, come back to 40 Fountain Street, we will miss you. Thank you very much.